Here is the mother of the house, and she has made a cup of tea. I want you to see the dress that she's wearing, which is called a kimono. It has some kind of a pack in the back. Notice the hair is pulled up, and she is making tea. I want to show you another figure of the man of the house, picture of the type of kimono that a man would wear and his headdress. And look at the little teacups. And this is basically a ceremony. It's like having a coffee break, but they take very great pride in how they prepare their tea. It's at the time of day where they sit and think about the events of the day, just like we have our coffee breaks where we sit and relax. Maybe we have worked hard in the office and it's time for coffee break. For us at school, it's our snack time. That's our time for us to relax, take a break. The Japanese people will do that also. They will have a tea time. The English people do that. They will have a high tea in the late afternoon. And I imagine that the English got this from the Japanese, because when they started trading, and the tea comes from Asia and Japan, the English were able to bring it over, and they started that habit. But of course, they don't go through any rituals like putting the kimono on, or sitting. Look at the way the man is sitting. Look at the way the woman is sitting. Remember, they sit on pillows. They don't sit on chairs. Can you imagine in their little houses if they had all this big furniture? So it's a very peaceful time of day. What is going to happen to Yoshiko? And let's look at all the pale colors too. The Japanese are very, very artistic. I'd like you to take a look at something that was made by a Japanese artist. I want you to see how artistic the Japanese people are. They still are. This vase is, it's almost 100 years old. But you can see the beautiful artwork, the 3D, the faces of the men popping out, and the gold inlay. Let's start reading. Our service words are the ones that we've already had. I want you to look, as I said, at the pictures, and I want you to read page 120 to yourself. It won't take long. Remember the word Japanese and kendo. So take a moment and read page 120. Okay? All right, you should have finished. Okay, if we look at both pictures, who are the two ladies that are sitting there? It's mentioned on page 120. Yes, the two ladies are grandmother and mother. And what does Yoshiko do? What are the two things that she does on page 120, the two actions that she performs? She takes off her shoes, and I showed you she's got the slippers in her hand. Then remember, very, very quietly, they're very quiet people, the Japanese. She opens the door, and what does she do before she sits down on the mat? Yes, she bows. Look at her head bowing to grandmother. Okay. Okay, now we look at the page 121, and we see that mother is pouring the tea. Look at the little table. They have to sit on the floor because the table is very low. And look, there's even snacks. Look at the grandmother, she has some snacks on the table. We see the mother with a teapot in her hand. Apparently she's gotten some of the hot water from the pot that looks like it's over some kind of a heating element. It's not a fire. I really can't tell what it is, but she's got the teacup in her hand. And what does mother say to Yoshika as she's coming into the room? Please read page 121. Remember, we're going to see the word Megumi, who happens to be her friend, and why she mentions her. So start reading. The top says, Yoshiko, come and chat with thee, because mother suspects that something is bothering her, right? Remember, mother's quiet voice is already making Yoshiko feel better. Let's find out what happens. Okay. All right, you should have finished reading this page by now. How do you think mother knows that something is bothering her daughter? Well, it could be by the way she's acting as she's coming in. Notice she doesn't run into the room, and I don't think Japanese children do that anyway. I think as a sign of respect, they will approach their parents, especially a grandparent, in a very quiet manner. Now, mother senses there's something wrong, and we find out that she has nothing to do that day. And why doesn't she have anything to do? Well, her friend is gone on a fishing trip, and there is no Bible club. Oh, no Bible club. I wonder, is she a Christian? Because Christians read the Bible, don't they? So we already know something about Yoshika and her family, that they believe and read the Bible. And that would probably be something like the Awana Club for you children that you go to on Wednesday night, or maybe even on Sunday when you have Sunday school. So how does mother try to solve her daughter's problem just because her best friend is not around? Okay, she tells her that she needs to make more friends. What is wrong with Yoshiko? What word tells you? What kind of a personality does she have? The mother says it. Right, you are too shy. She is not the type of person that makes friends easily. And what do you think her parent, her father, wants her to do? Because I guess both parents realize that she needs to do something more with herself. And what solution do the parents have? Especially the father. It's the last sentence, or the next to last sentence. Yes, father thinks it might help for her to take kendo. That's like fencing with the sword, but only it's a wooden sword or a sword made out of bamboo. And when is she going to begin the lessons? Tomorrow. Okay, let's turn the page and look at the next page. Okay, now she goes to school, and what happens after school? Where is she going? Start reading. We're going to see some words that you might not be able to sound out. One is a paddy, a rice paddy. That's where rice grows, and rice grows in a couple of inches of water, and she has to pass by. Look at the things that she's passing by. How does she feel? Think about that. What does she decide to do? And what happens in the classroom? And at the end of the page, we find out that how is she feeling about her lessons? Okay, start reading. After school the next day. Okay. All right, you should have read by now. What happens as she stops at the door of the school? Yes. She's afraid, isn't she? She wants to go home and says it's not too late to run home. How many of you have felt that way starting something new? I'm really surprised that she's by herself. Her mom or her father haven't taken her to the kendo school. So she really could run away and go home, couldn't she? All right, but then what does she say about that? Read the sentence that she says to herself. Japanese people do not run away. It's not good to run away. So she already has the feeling that she can't do that. She has to do what she's supposed to do. And what does she do? She goes in the door. And the children are already dressed for their lessons. Apparently they wear some kind of a costume, a special outfit for their kendo lessons. And she rushes to get dressed because she didn't want to be what? She didn't want to be different. She did not want people to look at her. So in a way, she has to, what we call saving face. She didn't want to embarrass herself, so she quickly got dressed. Now, what did the children do when the class began? The children bowed first to the God shelf. Then they bowed to their teacher. And what did he tell them? He said it's good to bow to the God shelf, because if you did not bow, you weren't going to do well in kendo. So the gods were going to punish you. If you didn't bow to them, you weren't going to do well in your kendo lessons. Well, what happened after the first week? Yoshiko began to really enjoy herself, and it was fun. She shouted and she leaped. Remember, she was a very quiet little girl. Well, maybe she wasn't so little, but she enjoyed the challenge of the game and the lesson. And look what happens. Sometimes she was a winner, and sometimes she wasn't, and sometimes it was a tie. A tie means when both people that you fence with or that you kendo with are equal in their strength and their ability. Okay, so we're going to stop, and tomorrow we're going to go on to the God shelf and see how it affects her and what it means to her. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to be doing workbook page 115, and it says write the correct word to complete each sentence, and you have a choice. And very simple, just put the correct word in the sentence and have it make sense. Okay, and we'll close our books and we'll take out our phonics books.